This video is going to be on what service mode is on a Tesla. So this is a 2024 model Tesla 3, same as a Model Y typically. So what is service mode? So I'm going to log in, show you what it looks like, and run through each area and tell you what basically what's what. So to get to service mode, you click on this little car button here, and then in the center you're going to click on one of these here, software, and then on software you click on Model 3 or Y, you hold that, wait for it to flash real quick, and then you type in the word service, and then enter, okay, and then it'll say caution, improper use of service mode could result in loss of vehicle operation, permanent vehicle damage, or serious personal injury. So then I can enter. I've actually never had anything cause anything serious when I used it. Then if you have the newer one, basically like this red screen comes up. On the left side you'll have your vehicle, on the middle you'll have your menu, and on the right you'll have everything that each category represents. So before you even click on anything, if you're not comfortable, just click exit service mode. You can click on that, hold it, and get out of the screen if you're not comfortable. So service mode is typically used by automotive technicians or people that work on their own vehicles to upgrade certain things on the vehicle, calibrate certain things, everything from brakes to antifreeze to windows, etc. So the first thing you'll notice is you'll have your VIN number up here, you'll have your mileage up here, it'll say what kind of self-driving you have, what kind of computer you have. So it looks like I have the AMD Ryzen. And you got the, I'm sure I mispronounced that. And you got the year for the firmware. And then here you have software reinstall. You can reinstall the software if you wanted to. You got the CAN viewer, additional resources, service history, service settings. So this is nice to have if you're buying a brand new, or not a brand new, a used Tesla. You can actually log in, click service history, and then it'll have certain things in here. Looks like this car had his tire rotation of April and also in December. So that's pretty cool. If you want to add, you just click record service, and then you put in whatever it is that you want to put in for the service that you put in. So that's something you can check. Service alerts is nice. That's basically check engine light. Okay, so if you got a check engine light on a regular car, you want to know what codes are popping up. This is how you do it. You have all your different codes on here that have ever popped up. I've got codes here that go back, months, maybe years. So these codes can come up for a number of reasons. If the car has ever been wrecked or if the car has ever been worked on, these are all your codes. So nice to know, because you can essentially log in and kind of see the history of it. So it says service fix, customer, and all. Not sure what the difference is between those two, but it's just nice to know that they're here. Okay, so that's just the basics. Okay, so you got service alerts, service history, service settings. I've never really used service settings before, but it says here these settings are applied upon entering service mode. So I don't ever use it. CAN viewer, I believe that's your cameras or something like that. It says here this routine requires service mode plus authentication. Additional resources. This is just a quick walkthrough to show you, like, there's nothing scary about service mode. So it looks like it's a service portal. The new 2024 service mode might be a little bit different from the 2022, where you typically plug in your laptop. So it appears like the 2024 might not have anything to plug in. Maybe it just goes through here. I've never had to use this part as far as like resetting an airbag light or anything. With the older ones, you'd have to plug in your laptop. Okay, so that's just the basic here. Okay, so then in the center, if you go back, you have all these different options. So if you click on vehicle info, that goes back to your home screen. So the first one is driver assist. That's your FSD. In order for FSD to work, the cameras have to work. So you can click on cameras, and it will have like these green things. Green means all the cameras are working. It also shows you where all the cameras essentially are located on the vehicle, so you can tell there's, 6, 7 with an interior. And then down here you can actually reset any of those cameras. I'm not going to do any of that. If you want to watch other videos, maybe I'll make a separate video for each one of these and go through. If that sounds interesting, leave a comment if you want me to do that. I could definitely walk through each of these and see what. Make sure like the car doesn't blow up if I click on, ping DAS CAN or ping DAS ETH. So cameras, driver's assistant. They should all be green, by the way. If they're red, that means one of your cameras is not working. So that's that. So driver's assistance for a little steering wheel. The next one is this box looking thing. That's infotainment. You can click on speakers, and it basically shows you all of the speakers in the vehicle. You can do reset audio if you wanted to. Again, I'm not going to do any of these today. I'm just giving a quick run through. If you want me to, let me know. Leave a comment, and then I actually will. It'd be kind of interesting to see what would happen if you clicked on some of these. Audio A to B. Just is your car computer, microphone 1, microphone 0, telematic control. I'm not really sure what that is actually. Some of these are new ones. Wi-Fi connections. So if you are hooked up with your home Wi-Fi, it'll have, it'll say connected Wi-Fi status. So it'll just have a good way to test your modem down here. Make sure if your car is at your house that you're hooked up to your Wi-Fi. That way it can update itself. So if we go back, display. That's your display. Touch check. I'm not going to do that right now. Software. That's your software updates and all your codes that have come up, if anything. Okay, next one is the power distribution. HV is high voltage system. If you click on that, I have all these green things that basically say here's your battery. You can down here charge port, you see reset. You got contactors here, pack contactors. That's basically like where the power runs through. It tells you if it's open or closed. And then you have HV battery. That tells you where it's at as far as the percentage wise down here. And then you can press some of these buttons. Don't press them. So there's no need to unless there's something going on. HVIL. This is basically high voltage HVL status, out voltage, and in. So basically what comes in versus what goes out. So you can kind of tell like where the battery is coming from, the ECU, front ECU versus the back one. Drive unit, that tells you if you have front wheel drive, back wheel drive versus two motors versus one motor. So this is a long range that I have, single motor. So based on this is nice to have, because if you're buying a car and it says, hey, and they tell you, hey, this is a long range dual motor, there's a sticker. Well, you can technically log in and see if it's a dual motor. And if you see one motor back here, then you know it's not a dual motor, it's just a single motor in the back. So that's the power one. Click on the battery next. Click on the keys. Mine has a red one because it's disconnected currently. But basically, like, everything should be green in yours. That just tells you where your keys are, what keys are programmed versus if you've got a cell phone that you're using. Let's see here. Power distribution. Alright, power distribution. This is where you have the clear post-crash load shed. If your vehicle has been in an accident, you want to clear the ECU. That would be the place. That's again under the battery part, under power distribution. Interior lighting, that's your, the interior lighting that you have basically. If it's not green, that means it's not connected. HomeLink, that's your garage door opener if you got one. I don't have one, but if you install it, then that's what you eventually click on it. And there's a little cool thing, that's your AC thermals action. This is where you would either add or refill your coolant. So the vehicle does have a coolant, and I actually do have a separate video on how to start and stop coolant. So if you're low on coolant, like in the summer, it's good to check to see if you're low on fluids. You can test your HVAC performance here to see if your AC and heater works. I made a separate video on that one too. But yeah, nice to have. Refrigerant system just basically shows all your compressors. You can also, test some of these here. I have tested some of these. The car doesn't blow up, but if you're interested in me running any of these tests, leave a comment and I will do that for you. I have some of them, not all of them though. Another one, as far as seeing what flows where, you can do a coolant purge start coolant fill drain. That's good to do when, again, you're replacing your coolant system. And this almost looks like a manifold, but it's basically your pump, coolant pump. All right, next one, we're almost done here. You got your strut here, chassis. You got alignment and tire. This is used by people that do alignment on vehicles. I do have a video on that one if you're interested. TPMS is throttle. I thought it was throttle position sensor, but it's actually your TPMS, your tire sensors for pressure. There's all 4 of those. And then steering, that's you can recalibrate your steering rack here. Same thing with that. It's for people that do alignment. And then CSCM, that's to do a test run on everything on your steering wheel. And then brakes, you can do some tests on your brakes here. Brake stiffness test, bleeding. This one's nice if you have a faulty light that comes on and all of a sudden like you hit a pothole or something and your FSD stops working. You can literally do a bleed test, and it kind of reset that, which is pretty nice. I've done that once. Windows, this is if your windows don't roll up all the way, you can actually get them recalibrated here. I've never really done that, but if you for some reason are driving and you feel like there's wind coming through the windows, you can recalibrate the windows. So this is typically used by people that replace windows on vehicles. Maybe there's not a window technician that needs to recalibrate the window after it's reinstalled. Frunk, that's basically just your little motor component latch underneath the hood. It'll tell you if it's connected or not. Should be green. And then the last one here is your SRS system. You got your airbags. It tells you where all your airbags are. This is your computer here. This is your, you can click on each one and it tells you if your airbags are all good. There's a few of them. You got 1, 2, 3, 4. There's a few on here. And then the seats. You can click on each seat and it tells you whether it's occupied or not. The seats are connected by using body weight. That's your seatbelt. Okay, so that's a quick run through. You can click back home, click on the car, and you're back to your home screen. And to exit, again, you just hold this and you're out. So if that helped, thumbs up. Leave a comment if there's anything that you want me to make a specific video on as far as service mode and things like that. If you got questions, I might be able to answer some of them. I buy these vehicles from the auction. I get them started at times and resell them. So this is a newer 2024. I had a 2022. Service mode's very similar. There's a few new features I've seen on the 24 one, but basically that's the gist. If this is helpful, hit like or subscribe. Take care.